For nearly 2 decades, hiking the dreary Cheney Trail in Humboldt Redwoods State Park had been a cherished tradition. A father, his 2-year-old son and his parents walked the path 3 to 4 times a week, their footsteps weaving a familiar rhythm through the towering redwoods. Nothing about the forest had ever felt unsettling. Until now. Over the last few weeks, something had changed. It was subtle at first. A sense of unease that neither the father nor his parents could quite explain. They brushed it off as nothing more than an overactive imagination. This was their trail. They knew it better than anyone. But as they hiked that day, the feeling became impossible to ignore. It was mid-afternoon, and the family moved at their usual pace, talking and laughing. The 2-year-old set the rhythm, stopping every so often to examine a leaf or point at a bird overhead. The forest was peaceful. Sunlight filtered through the towering redwoods, casting shifting shadows along the well-worn trail. Then it happened. A piercing, guttural scream echoed through the trees, so loud it seemed to shake the very air around them. The family froze. It wasn't an animal. Not a coyote, not a fox, not a mountain lion. It sounded almost human, yet impossibly deep and powerful, carrying through the dense forest as if whatever it was that made the sound wanted them to hear it. The son exchanged a glance with his parents. None of them spoke. The sheer power and volume of the sound had set their instincts on high alert. It felt calculated. Not a random noise, but a warning. Only the father, slightly ahead and hard of hearing, had missed it. "What was that?" he asked, seeing the stunned expressions on their faces. His wife turned to him, voice hushed but urgent. "You didn't hear it?" Before he could respond, she added, "It was loud. Too loud. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't normal." A shadow passed over the father's face. He hesitated for a moment, then said, "I know exactly what you're talking about. I've heard it before." The father sighed. "I didn't say anything before because I wasn't sure what it was. I didn't want to scare you." That same eerie feeling settled over the group once more. He explained that on his last hike he had felt watched the entire time. He had heard something moving in the brush, keeping pace with them, just out of sight. And he had heard the scream before, not as loud as today, but unmistakable. They didn't waste time debating the possibilities. Something was out there. And it was close. Their hike was no longer casual. They picked up their pace, moving quickly back toward the trailhead. But no matter how fast they walked, the eerie sensation of unseen eyes followed them. By the time they reached their car, they could still feel it. Something was out there. Something had seen them. Only when they drove away did the tension finally begin to fade. That night, they sat together, replaying the moment over and over in their minds. There was no rational explanation for what they had heard. They had spent their entire lives in these woods. They knew every call, every cry, every whisper of the forest. But this was something different. They had always heard Bigfoot stories growing up in the Pacific Northwest. But those were just that. Stories. Until now. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. And if you want to see more content in the future, make sure to hit the subscribe button.